Welcome to my channel, where we discuss everything and all things politics, economy, and development in Nigeria and around the world. One of Nigeria's best export to the world in terms of religion, TB Joshua, has just been found out through a documentary to have been a serial sex abuser, very violent religious leader who forced women to carry out abortion and do all kinds of violence for decades against women and others under his ministry. This came to light through the documentary of the BBC titled Disciples, the Cult of TB Joshua, a documentary by BBC African Eye. That is what we're going to talk about right now. Now, before I go ahead with this, if you are new to my channel, you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. Hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell. When you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, anytime I have a new video, you'll be among the first to know. God bless you. And please subscribe, because our target is to reach 10,000 subscribers before the end of January 2024. The Disciples, the Cult of TB Joshua, BBC Africa Eye documentary, has exposed the mind control techniques that TB Joshua used in holding all these women and others literally hostage for decades. How was a barely educated TB Joshua able to achieve this? And how did he even come to learn about these techniques? We cannot pretend that we know how TB Joshua was able to learn about these techniques, but he applied these mind control techniques, and that is what we are going to share with you right now. And these are about 10 mind control techniques. That is what TB Joshua used in holding these women and others hostage for decades and control their lives the way he wants it. And the reason why we are breaking it down into the 10 techniques is so that anyone out there who is worshiping under any preacher, cult leader, or what have you, look out for these techniques in mind control which TB Joshua used. And when you notice it, run for your life. Because if you stay at your own risk. Now, what is mind control and mind manipulation? Mind manipulation, also known as psychological manipulation or mind control, refers to the process of influencing or controlling the thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and behaviors of an individual or group without their awareness or consent. Manipulation of an individual or group without their consent, and they are not even aware that they are being manipulated. Even as TB Joshua is dead now for a few years now, Some people are still being manipulated today. So if you're one of them, look at your environment and listen attentively in what we're talking about here so that you could be able to extricate yourself from such an environment. Because don't think that because TB Joshua is dead, some other people are not using that techniques to hold you or people you know hostage. Now, this mind control involves the use of psychological tactics to manipulate someone's perception, decisions, and actions, often for the benefit of the manipulator. Now, let us look at these techniques that TB Joshua, who was barely educated, who was able to use these techniques to manipulate highly educated people, graduates, a daughter of chartered accountant from UK, and several other highly educated people from South Africa, from Europe, from America, and they were worshiping under his feet, and they does whatever he wants. And when they don't do it, he knows the techniques to apply to ensure that they do it at their own detriment. Now, one of the techniques that TB Joshua used, which is very apparent if you watch the documentary from part 1 to part 3, is what is called a mind manipulation, gaslighting. Number 1, gaslighting. Gaslighting is a technique where the manipulator tries to make the target doubt their own perceptions, memory, or sanity. This is often done through subtle manipulation, denials, or the intentional spreading of misinformation to create confusion. That's one of the tricks that they use. TB Joshua applied it effectively, trying to create misinformation, creating confusion, people doubting what they believe earlier on. He used it effectively in manipulating so many of his victims. Number 2 is emotional manipulation. Emotional manipulation involves playing on an individual's emotion to control their behavior. They may include guilt tripping, using sympathy, or exploiting someone's vulnerability to gain influence. If you watch the video, you see a lady who came all the way from UK because she was gay. TB Joshua exploited that lady's vulnerability in holding her literally hostage. And she was with TB Joshua for 13 years. The woman came with the intention of what she saw on TV, Emmanuel TV, miracles. She was gay, but she didn't want to be gay. She wanted to change. TB Joshua projected the image, Christ-like image, and she came to Nigeria to be healed, to be transformed. TB Joshua took advantage of her vulnerability. Now, number 3 of the techniques that TB Joshua used in manipulating his victims is isolation. Isolation. When you watch the video, you see that it was very clear on that. Isolation. Now, isolation is a technique where the manipulator seeks to cut off the target from external influences, such as friends and family. It was very rampant. When you watch the video, many of the victims were cut off from their family. They don't have access to their family or friends. They can't even relate with each other while they were under the control of TB Joshua. They were made to inform on each other. They were made not to trust anyone. They were made not to trust even their own family members. So isolation is a technique where the manipulator seeks to cut off the target from external influences, such as friends and family. By controlling the information the target receives, the manipulator can maintain a stronger hold on their thoughts and beliefs. TB Joshua used this technique effectively. So if you are in a situation where your religious leader is making you to isolate from everyone else, cutting off from your family, cutting off from all relations, telling you that everybody else is bad, everybody else is responsible for your problem, that here and here alone is where you can get salvation, freedom, to be free from whatever that is troubling you. Know it, that is part of the techniques that is used in mind manipulation. And TB Joshua used this effectively, and it was apparent if you watch the video or the documentary. Another technique, number 4 technique, that TB Joshua, mind control technique, that TB Joshua used in manipulating his victims, is what is called mirroring. Mirroring involves mimicking the target's behavior, preferences, or attitude to create a sense of familiarity and trust. This technique is often used to establish a connection and make the manipulator seem more relatable or trustworthy. This mirroring technique was also very apparent in the TB Joshua's manipulation of his victims. Everything, the people were made to believe that whatever that TB Joshua does was right. They were supposed to mimic everything that he does, and create a sense of familiarity and trust. He was able to do that effectively. And for decades, he was able to control his victims who suffered in silence. In silence. They suffered in silence because they weren't even aware that they were being manipulated. That is one thing about mind control techniques. You are manipulated, but you are not even aware that you are being manipulated. Number 5 technique, mind control technique that TB Joshua applied is love bombing. Love bombing. Love bombing. Love bombing is an overwhelming display of affection, attention, and praise to create a sense of dependency and gratitude in the target. This technique is commonly used in courts, abusive relationships, or by individuals seeking undue influence. TB Joshua used this effectively. In fact, there was one of the victims, Bisola. She made Bisola feel a sense of love. And Bisola was one of the people that TB Joshua used in manipulating the whites. TB Joshua made Bisola feel a sense of importance, a sense of indispensability. So anytime those white people came from America, from Europe, you say, hey, those your white people, they have come. Bisola, your white people, they are around. Go and do what you ought to do. It makes you feel important. You are part of a superstructure, of a great project. But you don't know that you are being manipulated. Number 6, mind control technique that TB Joshua used in manipulating his victims and holding them hostage for decades was negative reinforcement. Negative reinforcement involves using fear, threats, or punishment to control behavior. TB Joshua applied this very effectively because he was able to create fear of consequences if the target doesn't comply with his wishes. And he did it effectively. When you watch it, if you have watched it or when you watch it, this documentary, you will see it reinforced how he used to flog people. Flogging those people in presence of others is a way to tell others, these are the consequences of you not doing enough. There was a story that was narrated by Bisola where somebody who was not supposed to sleep, because in TB Joshua's environment, the disciples do not sleep unless they are told to sleep. They barely sleep 4 hours in a day. There was a story she was narrating, how a young disciple was sleeping with an open mouth, obviously tired. And TB Joshua ordered other disciples to pee into the mouth of this victim. As they were peeing into the mouth of that victim, it is a reminder to them. It was a negative reinforcement that this is what will happen to you too if you are caught sleeping when you are not supposed to sleep. That is part of the techniques, mind bending, mind control techniques that TB Joshua, who was barely educated, used in controlling his disciples and indeed his empire. Number 7, selective information. Controlling the information a person receives can manipulate their perception of reality. By selectively providing information or presenting a biased view of events, the manipulator can shape the target's beliefs and opinion. And you can see throughout the documentary that TB Joshua subjected his victims to selective information. You cannot read what TB Joshua don't want you to read. You cannot do what TB Joshua don't want you to do. You cannot listen to what TB Joshua don't want you to listen to. The information you consume are only the information that TB Joshua wants you to consume. This is a technique of mind control. When you are in such an environment, better find a way to extricate yourself because it doesn't end well. Number 8, mind control technique that TB Joshua used in manipulating his victim is subliminal messaging. Subliminal messaging involves delivering messages or stimulus below the threshold of conscious awareness. While controversial, some believe that subtle cues or messages can influence behavior without the person being aware of it. This technique was also effectively used by TB Joshua. You watch how TB Joshua sends out people to get discrete information, messages to them in response to the information that has to do with them, so that they'll begin to fall in line to what he wants. These are messages that he will pass through his disciples to targets, because he has also targets, because the disciples are supposed to bring in some other people. You go to the church to worship, you go there for anything, they can opt you in, they can isolate you and bring you into the picture through the issue that brought you, and then the messages that will send to you to convince you that what you are doing, this is the only solution to your problem. Subliminal messaging. It is part of mind control techniques. TB Joshua used it effectively. And when you watch the video and the documentary, you will agree with me that TB Joshua used it effectively. And what beats my imagination is that TB Joshua was barely educated, yet he was able to somehow know about these techniques and was using them effectively, and it was working for him till death. Of course, I know there were issues. These issues were issues about his sexual exploitation and everything. Was already in the public domain before his death. Bisola herself, who was in that documentary, had done several YouTube videos calling out TB Joshua when TB Joshua was alive. She has even written a book. Okay. That's for the interest of those who are saying that TB Joshua is being maligned because he was dead. No, Bisola had done several videos on YouTube. You can check her out, calling out TB Joshua and her despicable behavior with women and those who are disciples under his control. Now, let us get to the number 9 mind control technique that TB Joshua used in holding his victims hostage. Number 9 is neuro-linguistic programming. This involves using language and non-verbal communications to influence thought patterns and behaviors just by body languages. There are things the disciple will see: eye contact, demonstration by hand. TB Joshua had already sent a message what he wants to be seen accomplished. And if you don't get it, then you are in trouble. He used this effectively. And victims narrated all these things in the documentary. Number 10, mind control technique that TB Joshua used in holding his victims hostage for decades under his control in his church environment is Cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance occurs when an individual holds conflicting beliefs or attitudes. Manipulators may use this discomfort to their advantage by presenting information that align with the desired belief, helping the target justify their actions. Cognitive dissonance occurs when an individual holds conflicting beliefs or attitude. Manipulators may use the discomfort to their advantage by presenting information that aligns with the desired beliefs, helping the target justify their actions. You can see in the video, there was a lady that was believed to be the daughter of TB Joshua, born out of wedlock. You see how they were slapping her around and doing all kind of things. TB Joshua justifies all those kind of treatment. He justified it because those people, they were in conflict in terms of, am I doing the right thing? But he was able to justify it, that that lady is demon possessed. That lady is a devil incarnate. So when they use this, when the people are made to do things that they are in conflict with their belief, the manipulator gives you the impression that you are doing the right thing and give you a justification for it. And that was apparent. There were so many things in that documentary that gives people who participated in it, who participated in victimizing others, on the orders of TB Joshua, thinking that they are doing it unto God, creating a sense of conflict. These are people who are doubting. Is it the right way? Is it the wrong way? Am I doing right or wrong? They say, this way, continue like this, do it like this. That is the right way. And people were misled into being part of the violence, maltreating each other, beating each other up at the instruction of TB Joshua. So these 10 techniques of mind manipulation were used by TB Joshua to manipulate his victims. Why do we have to break it down after watching this documentary? It's a 3-part series. After watching it, we break it down so that people be aware of these techniques, so that they can recognize it when they are around any leader, be he a religious or cult leader or what have you. When you see these signs, run for your life if you can still run. Because you can see that many of the disciples were literally held hostage. They couldn't step out of the synagogue. They couldn't step out of the synagogue for 10 years. They lost sense of time and anything. But if you are in an environment where you can still escape, when you have a leader who practices this 10 mind control technique, run for your life. That is why we are breaking it down like this. We are doing this because manipulation often thrives in an environment characterized by secrecy, control, and deceit. That was the environment that the disciples operated under TB Joshua. Thank you for watching this video. And if you are new to my channel and you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. Hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell. When you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, anytime I have a new video, you'll be among the first to know. God bless you. And please don't forget to like this video, because when you like it, Google will rank it high and recommend it for more people. Thank you, and God bless you and yours. And please, we're on a mission to have 10,000 subscribers before the end of January 2024. Be a part of this project. God bless you as you do so.